Hello, RA out there. It's Mark with Redo Over, and we are back to Master of GalCiv4. We are on to the Gnolam, and I am very pleased with how this turned out. Yeah, a little porcine looking, right? And so it's like, okay, is it a warthog? Is it a water buffalo? Is it a guinea pig? Is it a little troll monster? It's all those things, and I think this is the perfect Xeno I got generated for this. So let's jump over to Mutu, take a look, and we will jump back in here and get going. All right, so with the Gnolam League, I think is what it's called. Yeah, you've got additional taxes or additional BC Galacto credits, whatever. We can definitely get that mocked up in GalCiv4. Low gravity. I would say we could knock off maybe a touch of, I don't want to say production, possibly maybe ground combat, right? I think they term it as like cowardly, but we could just represent poor ground combat with that. Maybe even poor planetary invasion. I think we could bump both of those down, and that would represent low gravity pretty well. Expert traders. I think there are some good options within the ability picks for civilizations to represent that affinity with BC trade routes, negotiations. I think that's well accounted for. We've got lucky and dictatorship. Now, again, dictatorship's kind of across the board with most Mutu civilizations, but let's look at lucky real quick. Let's hit custom. I don't know if we can get any of this. Races which are lucky do not suffer from random galactic disasters, have a greater chance of benefiting from good events, and Terrans will also have a tendency to overlook them, overlook the colonies of lucky players. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to get leaders for cheaper or better leaders. That comes through charismatic, if I'm not mistaken. So I know there are a few options to essentially like loyalty in GalCiv4 will get your leaders for cheaper. We don't need to worry about that here, though. So primarily, can I hit any of this? Good events? Probably not. I think lucky is going to be a loss. But I think we can hit expert traders. I think we can simulate low gravity. I think we can simulate additional credits. So let's bounce back over. And we will jump in and we will edit the Gnolam League here. So let's look at our species first. We will have the Gnolam and we will edit the species. Up at the top, hog-like space traders. Yeah, what are you going to do? Do I need a space in there? Probably. Yeah, okay. And amphibian? Sure. I think it's reasonable. Out of all the phenotypes, we're trying to mix it up a bit. I thought amphibian was kind of better than anything else. I think we've already got 1 million species going with the Bullrathi. Certainly not plantoid, gaseous, fungal, avian. Yeah, I think amphibian looks great. So what is that going to mean? Higher approval on a jungle or tropical world. We'll want to make sure we hit that. And plus 10% approval on those two. Aquatic-based biology. Cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty sweet. I've got a military guy here, research advisor, economic advisor, cultural advisor. So I was able to do up a couple of female Gnolams, I guess. But yeah, it was a kind of a cool mix. And I really feel like I hit it on the portrait gallery here. I really started working into getting those color palettes and different profile facings. This is probably by far the best set of citizen portraits I've been able to do for an alien species so far. So pretty psyched about that. Midjourney's coming a long way. All right, relative resolve, meaning combat capability -2. That's right. This is again sort of trying to reflect the low grav experience. Relative diligence sitting at a +1. Is that accurate? I don't think that really matters. Oh, maybe we click that off of there. We've got the +2 in social. I think that is fair. There's no benefit one way or another to intelligence as I see it. Growth is sitting at normal, but I thought this was fun. Since they're kind of piggy people, I thought, hey, you know what? Let's give them a food consumption of 1.5. Yeah. Approval, though, is bumped up slightly. They're happier. They're jovial. And that really comes through in like the Conquer the Stars. Very upbeat sort of civilization. They play pretty nice with others. So that 55% is there. Relative expectation, though, also bumped up quite a bit. Although they're happier, they expect a lot. And because they're essentially, we'll say, pigs and shit, I'm giving them only a minus 10% for the effects of pollution. So they're pretty happy, but they have high expectations. However, not related to cleanliness. Pollution does just hardly bothers them. It's not nothing, but it hardly bothers them. They like a little bit of extra food. For names, just I came up with, whatever sort of goofy names on this side, and then over here I just kind of very a roundabout was trying to go for designer name brands, just sort of altering them ever so slightly, so it's got like a lot of French feel. So over here is kind of like Clork, and on this side it's like Renault. So I thought that was just a fun way to like sort of smash those two things together. We will hit save species. We will choose that species. And then here we go. For the logo, I don't know, I thought this kind of was cool. This sort of reminded me of like the power off on switch, but also sort of like a Bitcoin-esque, right? Like a very shiny, simplistic logo like a company would have. So I like that. And then of course, this is the leader of the Gnolam League, sort of in front of a market or bazaar or something like that. Think of mercantile exchange. They're amphibious. They're individualists. Yeah. I didn't think there was a better way to represent this. Believes in the primacy of individual rights, personal freedoms, and self-reliance, often over the needs and interests of the community or society. They're capitalists. So I think individualism meshes most closely with all these other options there. They're going to be personality when the AI is running them is going to be greedy and traitor. I thought that was just point blank, super simplistic. Prioritizes opportunities to increase their treasury by any means. Yeah. And traitor seeks opportunities for peaceful trades. There you go. I think that should make the AI play them very similar to the Gnolam League in Conquer the Stars. Otherwise, Gnolam League, a diminutive species driven by commerce and cunning. Their shrewd business acumen and resourcefulness makes them formidable galactic traders. Very cool. Let's jump to our abilities. So we have pegged credit income, richness +2. I think that makes a lot of sense. What are the positives? Likable. The first pip for a +2 in diplomacy. Yeah, just so stuff can get negotiated pretty well. And I gave him a +2 to persuasion. I gave him a +1 pip to deception, but a -2 to intimidation. That's right. They're known to not be really cutthroat. However, here we did bump down their soldiering, and we bumped down their planetary defenses to simulate low G. Now, I gave them explorers. I don't necessarily need that. I almost wonder, we could pop explorers off, but I was thinking of giving them like a minus to production. But if we did that, what else would they have? Got to be a little careful not to cripple anybody. Yeah, let's see. What if we took one off their production, again, to sort of represent the low G, right? They're just a little worse at physical production. What would we give them, though? What would work well besides that? Bureaucracy? Possibly. Influence? Possibly. Urbanites? Sorry, I'm equivocating here. Oh, geez. I don't know what else we would do. We could pack them in with more urbanite stuff. How about this? Let's just make them good explorers. Not fast, but they have a large sensor range and a larger ship range. Let's set it there so that they've got a little bit of a hit to production. I think that's fine. And then down here for the civilization abilities, I think these both worked out really well. Wealthy and traders. So wealthy is going to give them 2,000 additional credits to start with. Universal translator tech right away, so they have access to the Galactic Bazaar. And then allows a whole set of monetary abilities, blocks some others as it relates to technology. it looks like, for the most part. And then over here on traders, starts with the freighter. They have a significant boost to persuasion and receives 3 trade licenses. So there's a plus 10 to persuasion there to link up with the plus 50 there. So these people will be, let's make them very likable. Let's do that. Let's do that, and let's click off that explorers. So they're super persuasive and they're super likable. I kind of like that. And then under traders, really late stage capitalism. Yeah, we're allowing an additional monetary things. I think between traders and wealth, it's really gonna mix up. And I'm just wondering if any of these overlap. I see interstellar investment tech, interstellar market techs, and on this side, interstellar banking techs. Yeah, it looks like they're different. So there's going to be a boatload of financial options coming up, but yeah, other stuff is blocked. Blocks capital mainframe, and over here I think same thing, blocks capital mainframe. So some of those blocks are doubled up, which is fine. It actually is a little bit of a cheat when you're taking a detriment on 2 different abilities, but they're the same one. Tropical world, that should play in well with the amphibiousness. They want jungle or tropical. So that will help them out. And then the Archaea system, let's just take a quick look at that. The home system of the Archaean Empire containing a class 28 terrestrial and a class 12 desert. Interesting. Not exactly sure why I chose that, but sure. And then Null Prime is the planet. So I think that looks like a pretty good setup. We'll get this released this week, and we will be moving on to Klakon? Maybe humans. I don't know if they're called Terrans or humans in Mutu. But definitely the Klakon are coming up. Who else? I'm trying to think of... Sakra are in there still. Silicoid are in there. They're both in the S range. Meklar. Maybe Klakon Meklar? Possibly. Okay, we'll get to those next week. If you watched, thank you so much. Take care.